Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, last Sunday, Texans finally got their first win of the season, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's a good thing and all, but right now, they got to take that same energy on the road to face the Tennessee Titans, the undefeated Tennessee Titans, try to hand them their first L of the season. But before I get into all that, let me just do a quick recap from Week 5, actually. So, as we all know, Bill O'Brien got fired. That's probably the highlight of every Texans fan's week leading up into last week. And so not only that, it also kind of showed in the way that the team played on Sunday, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-14. Quite a few takeaways from this game. Of course, the win. Other than that, impressive performances on both sides of the ball. It was the first time all season, I believe, that the Texans held an opponent to under 100 yards for the year. On the flip side of that, David Johnson, he had his highest rushing total, 96 yards on the day. Watson, speaking of high totals on the offensive side, Watson had around 350. He had 359 on the day. Looking up our receivers stats real quick. Brandon Cooks led all the receivers with 8 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown. So he was doing big things on that day as well. Just the overall, just great performance on both sides of the ball. Merciless got a sack. Just great energy all around. What I will say, my main takeaway from that game is that the team played like the problem was solved. So I said that last week as one of the keys to the game that they needed going into the Jaguars game is that, now that O'Brien has been fired, it's been something that, people have been asking for the longest time. Now is actually, you got to go out there and you got to perform like, all right, that was the problem. Other than that, even though it's unlikely that the Texans, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say it's unlikely that the Texans are probably going to keep this up throughout the rest of the season. But, they do have to try at some point. I mean, like I said, they fired them 4 games in the season. We got a whole bunch of football left. And, with an interim coach, it's kind of iffy if that's going to be the thing that be something that will happen as far as like playing at that high level for the rest of the year. But now who knows what can happen. It's a toss-up league. Hell, the Browns are out here. The Browns are out here balling. They're out here balling out on themselves. So you never know what can happen. So all in all, great win for the Texans. Really happy for them. Of course, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? Just great win. And now they got to just mess around and take that same energy into Tennessee. So Tennessee, going on the road to Tennessee, 4-0 Titans. And the Titans, they just been doing. They've been having their own, despite having them having their own issues with the COVID situation and everything. They've been playing good football as well. As I said, 4-0. Defense has been, playing pretty good. Derrick Henry has been Derrick Henry, of course. Ryan Tannehill seems to be fitting in really well within the system. So it's a tough task for the Texans to pull up on with this to pull up on this team given the situation that's been going on with the franchise right now. But hey, you do it. You gotta any given Sunday or whatever cliche or whatnot. They got to do it. They got to get it over with. So speaking of getting it over with, let's talk about some keys that they can do to win this game. And so one of those keys is just getting it out the way. Trying to figure out the Derrick Henry problem. And Derrick Henry, he's very much a problem for a lot of opponents. And given the circumstances of like how our run defense has been playing, he could prove to be a problem for us this Sunday. However, Texans really do have to make that a priority of figuring out how to slow down his rushing attack. There's 2 games he's already broken for 100 yards. I think the last game, one against the Bills, he had him around like 50, 53 yards or something like that. But he was still very impactful. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen the stiff arm that he delivered to Josh Norman, just shoving his whole career and resume out the way. And so that right there is that's just a testament of like how strong Derrick Henry is, how physical he can get, and how we need to match that strength and physical. How the Texans defense has to match that strength and physicality with taking him on. One of the things that has been troubling this run defense is that they haven't been able to tackle well. That's one of the things that I noticed. But in this last game, they were able to obviously kind of get that concept going. They were able to tackle a little bit better compared to like previous games. But however, with Derrick Henry, it's not just tackling well. It's tackling well and bringing him down, or just having other players commit to tackling him and bringing him down. So that's a challenge that the Texans are definitely going to have to deal with. Just trying to slow down the rushing attack with Derrick Henry, and just trying to take him out the equation of their other Tennessee Titans offensive game plan. Second thing that needs to be done is the receiving group. Be aware of the receiving group for the Titans. They can be quietly dangerous. So, wide receiver AJ Brown, rising star in this league. He was out for a couple of games this season, and he came back. He came back, and I guess for the Buffalo game or whatever. And he had a pretty pretty decent game. Tight end Jonnu Smith, in Brown's absence, has been like a huge weapon while Brown was out. So I would definitely kind of shift some of the attention onto him. He's definitely somebody that Tannehill can rely on in case some of the receivers can't really get open like that. And I think he's definitely somebody that can really just make some plays, some big time plays for them. So I would definitely keep an eye on Smith as well as Brown. Another thing about that, just kind of be aware of the play action. Tannehill, he's like I mentioned earlier. Tannehill, kind of fitting in the system a little bit. So he's not doing too shabby, but there's still those play action plays where he can just really get off. And that's all because of Derrick Henry, obviously, in that running game. So the play action is going back to my first point is just make sure we take Derrick Henry out the equation, and just just making Tannehill drop back when it's time to pass. But just be cautious of the play action as well if it comes down to that, because those receivers, if they get a little bit open, it can be some big problems for our secondary, and in the case of our tight ends, and in the case of the tight ends, could be a big issue for the linebacker. So definitely just kind of be aware of that receiving group as well as when the play action comes available. Last thing, Texans just got to keep that Texans offense, keep that same aggressive energy, and not just offense, but defense as well. Keep that same aggressive energy, just going at these guys. Send more blitzes if we got to, but really more for the offense. Just keep that same aggressive energy and just challenging the plays down the field. One of the stats that I was looking at for the Titans was that they were 30th in sacks. So, you got a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. He just got over there. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, used to be the Texans defensive coordinator. So, um, I think I don't want to say that this is the game that they break through in because of the familiarity with these two, but with the familiarity between these two teams. But I would definitely I would just try to take advantage of that. It seems like they don't really get the pressure. It seems like they're not getting enough pressure per se. I mean, if you're 30th in sacks, that has to be what that means. So I think the pass protection should be okay, but just don't let that leak or anything. Just make sure that it stays a-okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure we hold up against this whatever pass rush that they have, just so we can get the ball down the field more. Because I really think that the energy last week up on Jacksonville, that should be applied to Tennessee like 10 times more. Tennessee is the better opponent by far, being that they're undefeated and that they will be at home. But I mean, that's even more encouragement to just go at their necks and just really test them and just push them to the limit to see how good they really are. This is still a division. It's still a divisional game. It's still a divisional rival. So divisional rivalry. So I mean, these games are always fun. Literally the last game we had against the Titans, obviously didn't go so well, and that's because we had already clinched the division at that point, and we just really weren't putting our best foot forward. But the game before that, last season when we went on the road, you know what I'm saying? We actually got in there, we beat them, we blocked a couple field goals, Merciless got a pick, all that stuff. So really, just come in there with the mindset of just going at their necks and, just pushing them to the limit of, seeing how good they actually are. So do that along with, obviously dealing with obviously shutting down Derrick Henry or limiting Derrick Henry's participation or effect in the game plan, and just be aware of the receiving group that the Titans have. Get all those 3 things done, Texans could be walking away with their second W of the year. So that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.